Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video, the top 5 things that every single top laner needs to know. My name is LoFit. I do educational content, I do tip videos like this, and then also guides, and I also stream every night at 6:30 PST. If you want to come by, check it out, have a little chat, ask some questions, I'm always open to that kind of stuff. Also going to put a Discord link down in the description if you want to have a live chat with me in that fashion. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing I want to get into is I want to get into the top lane and the certain champion archetypes you're going to see up there. Usually they're on a spectrum of split pusher all the way on this side, with something like Tryndamere being on the complete edge. And then on this side we have team fighters. Probably on the edge would be something like a Malphite, being only really good in team fights and pretty poor in split pushing. So what you want to do is find champions that suit your play style and that you find enjoyment in playing, because a lot of the time in top lane, this is probably one of the lower impact roles on the overall game. You aren't in the middle, you aren't able to roam to either lane easier, you aren't doing too many ganks like the jungler, and you're not in a 4-man lane where you're able to affect a lot of people's games. So you have to find a style that you like. My personal favorite that I've been finding the most enjoyment is something pretty much in the middle of the spectrum, and that is something like Urgot, something like Gnar, that are pretty good at both split pushing and team fighting, and they kind of go from there. So make sure that you're not getting burnout from just having losing the coin flip, as they say, and find a type of champion that you feel you can affect the map the best with. Alright, and getting into number 2, and it's kind of an extension of number 1, is once you find the archetype of champion you like, you have to figure out a build that's going to be appropriate for the game state that you want to be in and that you want to affect. This comes down to if you're really heavily on the split pushing side, you want to develop items that is going to enable you in the 1v1, and as well as taking towers quickly, whether that be something like Triforce with Jax, or whether that's be something like an Abyssal Mask for Ornn that's going to give a bunch of magic damage to your other AP users on the team. You should not have the same build every single game. I would say that is quite a cardinal sin of League of Legends, because there is so much you can do with your flexible build paths. We are not crit ADCs that relatively build the same thing almost every game. We have to be the front line, so we have to be adaptive in what we're able to do in the game state. And that will wrap up number 2. Alright, and getting into number 3, I want to talk a little bit just about the structure of the lane up in top lane. As you can see with the towers, it is a very long lane from here to here, which will give a lot of time for the minions to push and to push back. This is not the mid lane, where it is a short lane, easy to escape from ganks and easy to maneuver around in. So what you need to keep in mind with top lane is that you are going to have a lot of time to affect other parts of the map when the lane is pushing back in your direction and you are losing minimal CS, and it is requiring your enemy to stay in lane to get CS. So let's talk about a couple of things you can do. First up, obviously the Scuttle Crab is a great situation after a lane is pushed to come and get. Then secondly, you can look for wards. Right here is probably one of the safest wards. And then also we can look into some deeper wards that are going to give information to your team on where the jungler is, and information on where any roams are going on. And yeah, these are 3 really important wards. I would say if you have a control ward, this usually is the best bush to place it in because it is the least checked. You can obviously look for that one as well, but you want to be able to cover this general area where you know if the jungler is taking the red, or if you know the jungler is taking the birds or the raptors. This is going to enable your team in 2 ways. First up, your bot lane is going to know they can go aggressive and fight. And secondly, it's going to enable you to play defensive when you know you are in store for a 2v1 situation. And then actually also, you can look for invades when you have the lane push. That is my absolute favorite thing to do nowadays, and I think it has a huge swinging impact if you are able to take away a red buff from the enemy jungler and then give the red buff to your jungler. A kill obviously is just going to be icing on the cake, but there are those 3 things that you really should look to be doing: either taking camps, scuttle control, or just placing wards and getting your team as much information as possible. Also, you might as well just use all of their blast plants and their oracle when you are in that area, just to lower the amount of resources they have available to them on their side of the map. Alright, for number 4, let's talk about something that is pretty unique to top lane, with a huge choice in summoners that is going to have a large effect on the game state. It is the classic teleport versus ignite. How you really want to approach it is, what do you want to do in the game? What are your win conditions? I generally take ignite because I like playing a strong 1v1 champion, and I like to really cripple the enemy top laner and get a lot of kills and get fed in the early and mid game just through laning. But if you like playing a team fighting champion like Maokai and Malphite, taking something like Ignite is a very poor choice, because you are able to affect the map so quickly with extremely high impact ults, and your win condition is not yourself getting extremely strong, it is team fighting front to back and enabling your carries. So you want to be able to teleport down to the bot lane when there are all ins, and you want to be able to support your mid laner as well if something goes on. So know your champion, know the playstyle, know how you want to win games. If it is crippling the enemy top laner and getting kills and just split pushing, Ignite might be the best choice. Or if you are trying to enable your team, if you are trying to have a lot of objective control on dragons, teleport might be the better situation. So there always should be a lot of forethought in the champion select, what type of summoners you are taking on that champion. Alright, let's get into number 5. Now this is going to be particularly a little bit more for the split pushing side of the scale, but it also can be affected with the tanks when you are just pushing down lanes and towers. Make sure, obviously, first you want to have wards that are going to be protective, and you know when people are coming. That is going to be a large part of split pushing, and then also you could do a ward over there if you want to have another ward. What I want to really stress is, you should be pushing in towers and pushing and being aggressive on these inhibs if your team is in the situation that they can get objectives if you are collapsed on. If all of a sudden a TF teleports behind you, a GP is chasing you down with his ult and barrels, your team needs to be close to the dragon. They cannot be in the fountain. This is a terrible spot to be if your team is in the fountain. This is an amazing spot to be if they are grouped around a high importance dragon, where you are trading 1 kill for the power of the dragon. That is going to be very advantageous. And then also, obviously, you could be in an area like this where the Baron can be taken if they collapse on you. So always look to pressure when your team can take something. I get this very commonly with my OPGG reviews with split pushers that are like, I play with my team, but they don't really take advantage of my split push. They don't know how to play with my split push. You should force them to be able to play with their split push by only split pushing when your team is in an advantageous situation to take advantage of your split push when you are putting yourself in peril. Yeah, so the general rule of thumb is you want to be out of vision, either here, or even farther back if you want to play a bit safer, when you do not see many people on the enemy team, and when your team is just farming your jungle, or they are just pushed halfway up their lane. Play carefully and play smart, and I think this is really going to be a great rule for you when you are split pushing in the current state. That will wrap up my top 5 tips. Obviously, I couldn't get to everything with this format. I might do a part 2 for this. Let me know if you guys would like something like that. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to like and subscribe. I can't believe I hit 1,000K subscribers. That was a really cool milestone to hit. And yeah, that'll wrap up the video. You guys take it easy.